Welcome to Geopolitics and Conflict Breaking News. What's going on, Ross?
The Pentagon has just issued a report claiming that China is now a nuclear threat. Where have we heard this story before? Deja vu is for real.
I know. It's like it's no laughing matter. Is it another Iraq here? Yes, indeed. And funny enough that I had a chance last night to read the report that's from the Pentagon, which, by the way, guys, we will provide you the link to that report so you can read it for yourself if you want to. It's about 200 pages or so. But what is interesting about this, Ross, is the idea all of a sudden is the United States or the Pentagon pulling another trick from its hat. Sort of, we were trying to play Taiwan, and now we are playing the nuclear card.
You know, when the build up to the Iraq War, what we kept hearing is all these atrocious stories, including weapons of mass destruction. How many of those were discovered once Iraq was conquered? Zero.
Indeed. Well, the idea of now what we're noticing, we want you to know, I know this one has been for about 4 or 5 days ago, but like we always do, we want to make sure of the information. So the Pentagon is indeed hyping this rhetoric regarding, oh my gosh, China's nuclear stuff is going to be by 2030. They're thinking about China's reaching about 700, and by 2049, China will have over 1,000 nuclear warheads. Even with that, you know how many nuclear warheads we have?
Actually, I do. 5,500 nuclear warheads and the systems to deliver them to any doorway on the planet.
Yeah. So it's 5 times folds of what the Chinese, even if they go that route.
And that's 30 years from now.
Yeah. And this is where we wanted to share this with you, is the idea of, the hypes like this. It's what justifies now the more spending into the Pentagon.
$770 billion.
778 to be exact.
$778 billion
for 22 budget. Can you imagine where you take just 200 billion out of that and spend it on the crumbling infrastructure in America, with the energy prices the way it is?
This is where this information is vital to you, because what we're seeing is all this money going to national defense, creating issues and who benefits from that? We as the American people are not benefiting from $778 billion going into national defense. What are we missing out on? Infrastructure.
You're right. Education,
healthcare, homelessness.
Yeah.
And so many other things. And here's the core of this. We don't see any players at the national level saying we're here to improve the quality of life of the American people.
They don't care about. Look no further than the last time when we talked about the energy. The Secretary of Energy, she's out of touch. American families are struggling with the energy prices. It's going up
very significantly.
Yeah. And we are going about now. You see it in the hubs, and I read the statements from the Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby, and stated, and I quote, he said, he said, and I quote here. So we've been very clear about our concern over China's advancements in certain capabilities, a wide range of capabilities that the Secretary noted himself do very little to help decrease tensions in the region and beyond. It's almost like saying, well, China as a sovereign state shouldn't develop anything, shouldn't advance its society, shouldn't be doing well. And who are we to decide? Who are we to dictate?
We are America. Didn't you know?
Yeah, but at the same time with the limits, it's kind of, because that becomes now this fear mongering. It's what the Pentagon wants to sell to the American people to justify now more spending, to increase tensions in that part of the world. As a matter of fact, Ross, just for you to know, I had a chance to take a look at the Senate bill S3131, in which the bill in writing indicating that Taiwan has to increase its defense budget by about 2.5% for the next 10 years. Tells you what? That if the US will sell those weapons, Taiwan will have to make sure that is paying for that for the next 10 years.
It also means the quality of life of the Taiwanese is going to decline by 2.5% every year.
Yeah, exactly. So this report from the DoD, in my opinion, Russ, it's just like other reports issues in the past, which disregards the facts.
Right.
This regards the facts on the ground. And the facts are this, despite whatever China does, the United States will still be ahead when it comes down to nuclear warheads.
By fivefold.
Yeah.
500% more than China ever will have.
Yeah. And their argument in the report, it stated that, and I'm going to share it, I'll share the quote here from the report, I think on page 7, if I am not mistaken. And we're going to have, once again, we're going to have a link for you guys. And it says right here, and I quote, this is from the report from the Pentagon that was supposed to be submitted to Congress. This is about 2021, China's military advancement. And it says, and I quote, the PRC's national strategy to achieve the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation by 2049 is deeply integrated with its ambition to strengthen the PLA. In 2017, General Secretary Xi Jinping laid out 2 PLA's modernization goals during his speech of the 19th Party Congress to basically complete PLA modernization by 2035 and to transform the PLA into a world-class military by 2049.
They're a sovereign nation, right?
Exactly.
Aren't they allowed to do this if they want to?
Exactly.
And are they being inspired by adversaries?
Yeah. I think the fear, Ross, is that the US is losing its hegemony, global hegemony, that is. And as I always said, I said that in my writings, in my previous articles, in my books, and all that, that is always this shift in geopolitical landscape. It's not to the favor of the United States. And the US is having a hard time accepting this reality.
And at the same time, our government's doing almost nothing about it. From every source we're looking at, we have economic, we have political, we have all these sources saying America's in a decline. And this is really fearsome. And yet we have $778 billion going to national defense. I was recently looking at an interview with Xi Jinping, and he said, how about we sit down with the U.S. and just talk about these things and resolve our issues? What a concept.
Yeah, and that is the approach. You say to yourself, like we always promote on our videos and in our platform, dialogue, peaceful coexistence.
Let's talk it over.
Yeah.
Now, are the Chinese pussycats and are they hard negotiators? They're hard negotiators.
That's for sure.
Well, could the United States be hard to negotiate? Well, we think that that's the case.
Yeah.
Look at all the things that they negotiated with the former Soviet Union and Russia. They were hard negotiations.
Yeah.
But they worked.
Same thing the Chinese did with the European Union.
There you go. 7 years in negotiation.
Yeah.
And they came out, everyone was a winner.
Exactly. It's the idea is that the United States is not willing to sit down, cross the table from the Chinese, and say straightforward, let's have a conversation. Basically, what the United States wants is to have China bow to the US, which will never happen.
Not now, it won't.
No, it won't, because we live in a different time. This is a different era. China is no longer the China that was a century ago.
Right.
And China is moving ahead, whether we like it or not.
In the context, remember, China is a contextual language and a contextual culture. The context is our century of humiliation is over. And you take a look at the stance of those people, and there's Foreign Minister Wang saying, yeah, we'll stand our ground. And he does a really nice job of it.
Yeah.
And he's representative of a whole lot of the Chinese people that we're watching interviews of today.
Exactly. Well, this is the reason why we wanted to share this with our viewers. As a matter of fact, if I may, Ross, I want to share one more thing from page 143 from the report of the Pentagon. And it says, and I quote, the CCP seeks to create international conditions that are conducive to the PRC's continued development and compatible with its aspiration for the PRC's rejuvenation as a great modern socialist country. End of quote. Well, wait a minute. As you said, Russ, and this sovereign state?
Here's one of the net effects for us. What we have is this report from the Pentagon saying, you need to be afraid. China is your enemy, and this is a long list of things you need to be afraid of. There's the pandemic, there's the economy, there's the gas prices, there's the climate change, there is all the social upheaval, there's all the woke thinking that's going, on and on and on. The net effect of that is we are overwhelmed with all these things to be afraid of. And one of the things this leads to is simple fear.
Exactly.
And as I talk to people, they're all anxious. They're all scared. And I talk to a lot of people. And this is a universal phenomenon. And now they've lost confidence in the national news media. They've lost a whole lot of confidence in their government, especially with the current president. And they're saying, we don't know what to believe. We hear every side of everything. And what we see is food prices are going up and the cost of fuel is going up. And our life savings are diminishing. And a lot of middle-class people are no longer middle class.
You're right.
They're moving to lower class.
Exactly. And this is one of the key points, just to guys let you know, in case you didn't see our video with Peter Schiff. He addressed this point and he was right on the mark. I appreciate the guy because he is straight shooter.
Yeah.
He's a straightforward. And when it comes down to this inflation issue and all that, the government is not saying the truth. I tweeted something about that and I said, are we becoming another Australia? Because the current government, this is different than when, for example, Kevin Rudd was the prime minister of Australia. Yeah. Australia was doing great under his leadership. So all of a sudden, we're starting to see the United States government behaving the same way Australia is behaving today.
Do you think our government's actually lying to us about inflation?
No.
Wherever I go, I talk to everybody. I don't know how I have that capability, but people, I'm somehow listening, and people talk to me, and they say things that just sometimes really shock me. So I was in a grocery store, and I got to talking to this guy who delivered wholesale foods and put them on the shelf. And I said, this was in May, and I said, I keep hearing all this food prices going up. You know what he said already in May it was?
What did it say?
8.4%. Wholesale food prices to retailers are up 8.4%. Now, does that sound to you like 3% inflation?
2%?
2%?
That's what the government's lying. So, well, anyway, just to get back to our point about this one here, the hypes of the Pentagon and all this stuff. Here is what's interesting. You know what's interesting about all this, despite what you hear and all that? China still decided to take the high moral ground by saying what? We'll be willing to sit down and resolve our differences.
And that comes from the highest level. That's
exactly.
Xi Jinping.
Exactly. This is the idea of this posturing, this aggressiveness, and this fear mongering. It was the idea of, what are we allocating more money to the defense budget instead of taking care of the issues we have here? Poverty is going up.
How about we build a refinery or two or three?
Yeah.
How about we open those pipelines from Canada? Those issues are so muddy that it's hard to get the true story on, although we've done a deep dive into it and know most of the true story. Maybe we'll do a show on it.
We will, yeah. And this is why we have our platform, to provide you the truth, because that's what we stand for. We're not going to sugarcoat it. No matter what the cost is, we will always tell you the truth to the best of our knowledge and let you reach your own conclusions. So this is what we wanted to share with you. We take, of course, this opportunity to thank our viewers. If you have not subscribed, please do so. And also, we want to thank our members, for their continued support. And check out our membership on geopoliticsinconflict.com. So we offer a lot of programs there. We do live presentations. We do live Q&A where we answer all your questions. And also, this is a platform where we can talk openly.
When did we do our last one? Was that Saturday?
Well, it was Saturday indeed.
What a rousing conversation we had with our members.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially with the UFOs and UAPs, the unidentified aerial phenomena. So we're going to be doing another one. I believe the next one is scheduled for the 19th. We're going to have one. And guess what the topic about that is? China and Russia together.
Oh.
So the rapprochement between the two. And what does it mean to you? Because there is something you need to know so you can think and prepare ahead of time of what lies ahead. That is the whole idea of what we do. So we take this opportunity also. We wanted to thank one of our viewers by the name Hey Man. If you happen to be watching this, we want to thank you for that super sticker you sent us last time, because it was sent to the last minute where we were saying goodbye. So we want to thank you for that. So, and as always, guys, stay informed. Till next time.